अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। नमः समय साराय स्वानुभूत्या चकासते चित स्वभावाय भावाय सर्वभावांतर चिदे. So we were doing discussion on karta karma adhikar, doer and deed relationship. So doer and deed relationship exist in one substance or two substance from the real point of view? Tell me, Subha. Yeah? Unmute yourself.
Jay, I didn't listen to your question.
Doer and deed relationship,
Okay.
from the real point of view, exist between two substances or it exists in only one substance?
One substance.
Yes. And from conventional point of view?
In two substance.
Yes. Potter makes the pot.
Yeah.
Right? So if we say the doer is potter and pot is the effect, deed. Okay? Doer is potter and deed is the pot. Then it is a real or conventional? It is real or conventional point of view?
Conventional.
Conventional. And what would be the real point of view from?
Clay and pot.
Yes, very good. Okay. So this is very established fact that wherever there exists a relationship between doer and deed, from the real point of view, it is always within one substance. And when it is conventional point of view, it is different substance. Okay. Another thing to highlight was that in reality, two independent substance performing their own transformation on its own, right? There is only a instrumental cause and effect relationship between them. Okay, because both have mutual non-existence. Okay, not mutual, pradbhav, pradvansha bhav, anyonya bhav, and atyanta bhav, absolute non-existence. Okay, so the relationship between two independent substances is of absolute non-existence. Okay, but due to the instrumental cause and effect relationship, it is being said that one substance does the work of the another substance from the conventional point of view. Real point of view, that is not valid, because from real point of view, it is only the one substance that is doer, and that is only the deed. Okay, it exists within one substance only. Now we were on to page number 6. Last paragraph. If the jiva is considered to be the doer and experience of the attributes of both the soul and material karmas, right? So two different substance, and one is jiva, the soul, and another is material karmas, which is a matter substance, right? So if soul is considered to be the doer and experience, karta, bhokta, of the attributes of both the soul and material karmas, then the jiva would become indistinguishable from two distinct activities. Okay. So two independent activities. Jiva is doer of only the jiv part and not the matter part. Okay. Which is not possible. Okay. So a soul can do the work of knowing also and of doing also. That cannot exist. Either you are a knower or a doer, right? If you are becoming a doer, that means you are not a knower. And if you are a knower, then you are not a doer. Okay. This is a principle which will be coming into use quite often. Okay. So, this is not possible. So, this is false statement. Soul is the doer of its soul activities and matter is the doer of its matter activities. Now the next page 87. Wrong belief is of two types. Mithyatva is of two types. Wrong belief about the sentient, that is about the soul, and wrong belief about insentient, ajiv, that is non-soul. Okay. So wrong belief is of two types. Wrong belief about the soul, which is jiv mithyatva, and wrong belief about the insentient, which is ajiv mithyatva, non-soul. Okay. Similarly, ignorance, non-restraint, vibration of soul caused by mind, speech and body, delusion and passions are also of two types. As we had studied in 7 fundamental elements, that majorly there are two elements, soul and non-soul. Influx, etc. are subdivisions of soul and non-soul. So, in case of influx, there would be one psychic influx, one material influx. Psychic bondage, material bondage. Psychic stoppage, material stoppage. So, dissociation and so liberation. Okay. All will be two. Similarly, here also one belongs to the soul and one belongs to the non-soul element. Okay. Similarly, ignorance, non-restraint, vibration of soul caused by mind, speech and body, delusion and passions are also of two types. Ignorance about the sentient, sentient means soul, and ignorance about insentient, non-soul. Non-restraint related to the sentient, non-restraint related to the insentient. Similarly, activity related to the sentient, non-sentient, delusion related to sentient, non-sentient, passions related to sentient, and passions related to insentient. Okay. So, in this way, wrong belief is of two types. One is of regarding the soul and other is regarding the non-soul. Similarly, all other things like ignorance, non-restraint, vibration of soul caused by mind, speech, body, delusion and passions, they are also of two types. Next paragraph, which is 88. Among these, wrong belief, ignorance and non-restraint and activities that are associated with insentient, okay, are of nature of matter, because insentient means non-soul and matter is also non-soul, are of the nature of matter and exist in the form of karmic particles. Okay. So wrong belief, one is from the psychic point of view, which is a wrong belief at the soul level, and another is wrong belief from the material side, right? And that is purely a transformation of matter substance. Okay. While wrong belief, ignorance, non-restraint and activities that are associated with the sentient are modification of consciousness and exist in the form of active consciousness. Okay. So, two broad divisions and accordingly the transformations happening. Now, the next paragraph 89, 90. From the perspective of real viewpoint, active consciousness is pure, untainted and singular. Okay. However, due to its association with delusion since eternity, okay, active consciousness has been accompanied by three distortions. Okay, wrong belief, ignorance, and non-restraint. The distorted active consciousness, which does the distorted disposition, is the doer of those dispositions. Okay. 91. The soul is the doer of whatever psychic activity that it does. Okay. All psychic activity at the soul level is done by the soul itself. Upon the soul's action, matter substance automatically transforms into karmic form. So two activities happening independently, something happening at the soul level, that is called psychic activity, and something happening at the matter substance level, which transforms into karmic form. Okay. So two independent activity, one is not the doer of other, right? But having said that, there exists a instrumental cause and effect relationship between the two. Whenever souls transforms, karmic matters are instrumental cause, and whenever karmic matter transforms, soul's emotions or soul's disposition is the instrumental cause. So there exists a mutual cause and effect relationship between the two, nothing else. Then 94, 95. When the three types of active consciousness lead the soul to identify itself as I am anger in passions like anger, or as I am dharma dravya, medium of motion, in substances like dhram dravya, then the soul is the doer of its own active consciousness. Okay. So when the soul identifies himself as I am anger, I am dharma dravya, then the soul is the doer of its own active consciousness. In this way, the agnani, the ignorant, due to its ignorance, disposition, believes itself in the form of non-self, and the non-self in the form of self. Okay. Errors regarding soul and non-soul elements. This is what we are discussing right now. Thus, it becomes the doer of actions. Okay. Since he is identify himself with non-self, then he becomes a doer of actions. However, when the soul ceases to make the self in the form of non-self and the non-self in the form of self, then it becomes the non-doer of actions and relinquishes universal doership. Okay. Sarva kartutva ka tyag, hai na? So when the soul believes himself to be the self, so when the soul stops in believing the self as non-self and non-self as self, then it becomes the non-doer of actions. Okay. And when he believes self as the non-self and non-self as the self, then he is the doer of actions. Okay. Very clear. Now the next one, 98. Conventionally. Now again, this is whenever we say conventionally, we have to understand that here, just in the example, potter is the doer of pot. Okay. So conventionally, whenever it comes, it will be that like that example only. Conventionally, the soul is said to be the doer of the senses. Material objects like pots, cloth, and chariots. Quasi karmas like body, etc. And numerous material karmas such as anger. Okay. However, this is not appropriate. Conventionally, it was correct, but from the real point of view, it is not appropriate. And the weightage of real point of view is always more than the conventional point of view, right? As we move on to from 1 to 4 conventional viewpoint, progressively the weightage increases, and then we go to real point of view 5 to 8. The weightage goes on increasing. Okay, so it is not appropriate, because if the soul were the doer of external substance, it would inevitably become one with them. That is, it would take on their nature. But since the soul does not become one with them, it cannot be their doer. So any object, any substance, if it is a doer, then it's assumed that it becomes one with that substance. Then only it can become a doer. Okay. So soul doesn't become one with the external substances, so it is not doer. Okay. If anyone is doer, then that means that it has to become one with that substance. Okay. Next paragraph, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107. 5 verses in one paragraph. The soul does not create the substance or qualities of material karma, because material karma is a matter substance and soul is a conscious substance. So how he can create the substance or qualities of material karma? So this is again a false statement, or it is a conventional statement. Either case, the weightage is very less. Hence, it is not the doer of matter. A substance that remains within a particular substance and qualities does not undergo transformation into another substance and its qualities. If a substance does not transform into another substance and its qualities, then how can it bring about transformation in another substance and its qualities? Okay. So again, a substance, if does not transform into another substance, then it cannot be considered as that substance. There is no connections. Okay. Thus, it is proven that one substance is not the doer of the transformation of another substance, because both are independent. That's why they are independent substances, right? They don't become one. If they become one, then you can consider that this is a doer of that thing. But they don't become one. Each substance maintains its individual identity. They don't merge with another substance. If they merge with another substance, then they become a doer. But that doesn't happen. So it is very clear, soul always remains soul and is the doer of the soul activity only, and it does not become matter, and matter is the doer of matter activities. No connections. Okay. However, when karmic bondage occurs due to the presence of the soul as an instrumental cause. So, instrumental cause and effect relationship do exist. It is conventionally stated that the soul has performed the karma. So, conventionally, if you say that the potter has made the pot, there is no problem. Okay. So, we do say like that in conventionally. But from the real point of view, the clay is the doer of the pot and not the potter. From the perspective of conventional viewpoint, the soul is described as the one that does, binds, transforms and acquires material substance. From which perspective? Conventional statement, not real. Only from the conventional viewpoint can it also be said that the soul creates material substance and its qualities. So conventional statement, no problem. The next, the soul is the doer of activities of mind, body and speech. Okay. All these three put together is called yoga. Okay. And active consciousness. So soul is the doer of mind, speech and body, activities of mind, speech and body, and active consciousness, upyog. Okay. Yoga and upyog, which serve as instrumental cause in the doership of external substance. Okay. Which serve as the instrumental cause. What serves as the instrumental cause? Yog and upyog in the doership of external substance. But soul never gets involved anything to be done in external substance. Very clear. only the yog and upyog. Okay. So yog and upyog are the doer of external substance and not the soul. Never. Okay. The soul is the doer of whatever, of whichever auspicious or inauspicious disposition it creates. That disposition is its deed, and the soul is also the experiencer of those karma that fructify and act as instrumental cause leading to that disposition. Okay. That disposition is its deed. Okay. So soul becoming a doer of what? Yoga and upyoga, activities of mind, speech and body, and active consciousness, which is again an instrumental cause for the doership of external substance. The soul is also a doer of auspicious and inauspicious disposition it creates. That disposition is its deed, action. Okay, deed or action is same thing. And the soul is also the experience of those karma that fructify and acts as an instrumental cause leading to that disposition. So all these statements are being made from the conventional viewpoint. From the real viewpoint, soul does not do any activity. It only is a knower and seer. Okay. Now the next, 109 to 112. Wrong belief, non-restraint, passions, and activities of mind, body, and speech are the four general causes of bondage with karma. So what is pratyaya? Pratyaya means causes of bondage. Okay. So these pratyayas are general way. They are four: wrong belief, mithyatva; non-restraint, avirati; passions, kashai; and activities of mind, speech, and body, that is yoga. Okay. So these are the four general causes of bondage. First cause is mithyatva. First mithyatva has to go, wrong belief has to go. Then non-restraint will go. Then passions will go. And then the activities of mind, speech, and body will go. Can anyone tell me which are the spiritual stages this will go? Anyone?
Sir, pramada will not come. 5, no, easily.
So pramad is included in the passions. Okay.
Acha, acha. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But in Samais, this is Samaisar, no? So Samaisar,
okay.
they have given 4 causes, but in
Okay.
Tatvar Sutra, they have given 5
usually
causes.
5.
5.
Dhanyavad then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the 7th stage.
One by one say. Wrong belief goes at which stage?
Fourth stage.
Huh?
Fourth stage.
Fourth. When you achieve 4th, wrong belief has gone. Then non-restraint?
Avirati is 5th stage.
5th stage,
Very
sir.
good. Very good. Then passions? Darshit ji. Passions, Darshit ji?
7th.
No.
10th.
10. At the end of the 10,
Sanjuvala.
yeah, absolutely subtle greed goes away. That is the last passion.
Yeah,
That's why Lob is called the king of all sinful activities, because it goes at the last. Okay. So passions has gone at 10th. Then yoga, activities of mind, speech, and body, which stage?
End of the 13th, 14th, just starting the 14th.
14th. Right, 14. Then you straightway get to liberation. Okay. So these have 13 subdivisions which do not have consciousness. Okay. So general, they are 4. What we are discussing? Causes of bondage. It is called pratyaya. In Hindi, it is called pratyaya. Just in general way, it is 4. And more specific, it is 5. And more specific, it is 13 spiritual stages of development. So 4, what will be the 4? Wrong belief, non-restraint, passions, and yoga. If it is 5, then wrongdoing, non-restraint, negligence, passions, and activities of mind, speech, and body. If it is 13, then the 1 to 13th stage of spiritual development. Okay. So these are different kinds of. These have 13 subdivisions which do not have consciousness. All these gunasthans, they don't have consciousness. Okay. They are all matter substance because they arise due to transformation of material karma. These operate as casual karma, pratyaya karma, or cause of bondage under the name of guna. Guna means gunasthan. Okay. In Hindi, gunasthan is also called guna in the short. Guna does not mean attribute here. You can write it down. Guna here means gunasthan. Note down. Therefore, it is clear that guna are the doers of karma. Which karma? Wrong belief, non-restraint, passions, activities, and if you go subdivision, then 13 stages of spiritual development. Okay. So these 13 stages are the doer of karma. The soul is neither their doer nor their experience. Okay. So everywhere acharyas are taking soul out and identifying it separately from all these activities. And that is how we practice discriminative knowledge. Okay. In discriminative knowledge, there will always be two parties, out of which one would be a soul. So our objective should be to differentiate soul from all other things. That is called discriminative knowledge. Okay. When you are looking at two different things distinctly, then it is called discriminative knowledge. When you see two things as one, then it is ignorance. Okay. Next, the soul's conscious activity, that is upyog, and passions like anger, etc., are different from each other. They are not identical. Okay. If passions like anger are considered as inseparable from the soul, just as conscious activity, then the distinction between Jeev and Ajeev entities would be lost. Okay. So two things they have taken. One is upyog and one is krodh, anger. Okay. So upyog is the soul's conscious activity, whereas passions are not passions are different from the soul. Okay. So conscious activity and anger are two different things. They are different from each other. They are not identical. Okay. Here we have to strike the X hammer. Okay. And these two different things, one is active consciousness, the other is anger. Okay. Two different things. Due to ignorance, we were believing it one. But now, to practice descriptive knowledge, we have to put a hammer in between two, and it will get divided into two. They were already two different things, but because of our ignorance, we consider as one. Now, what is descriptive knowledge? Correct knowledge is descriptive knowledge. So, correct knowledge will identify both as separate and not as one. If passions like anger are considered as inseparable from the soul, just as conscious activity. Conscious activity is inseparable from the soul. Even when you get liberated, conscious activity will go on. Even when you are in one sense, conscious activity goes on. Okay. But the association of anger is only in worldly existence. When you get liberated, there is no anger in the liberated soul. So, if we don't consider it inseparable, okay, if passions like anger are considered as inseparable from the soul, just as conscious activity is, then the distinction between Jeev and Ajeev entities would be lost. Consequently, every Jiva in the world would, as a rule, be classified as Ajeev, non-soul, which is evidently contradictory to direct perception. Okay. Knowledge. Next, If causes, pratyaya, causes of bondage, okay, then quasi karma, no karma, and karma, that means material karma, are considered inseparable from the soul, the same flaw would arise as before. Therefore, just like anger, these two are distinct from the soul. Okay. So material karma is distinct, quasi karma is distinct, causes of bondage are distinct from the soul. Following this, the Acharya presents the Sankhya doctrine. Okay. So there is another, we can say, sect called Sankhya Mat. Okay. They have got their own philosophy. So what is their philosophy saying? So the Acharya presents the Sankhya doctrine, which considers primal nature, prakriti, that is karma, okay, and soul as unchanging, aparinami. But you know that soul changes every moment, because soul has got two parts. One is the substance part, which remains always constant. Another one is the modification part, which anyways change every moment. Okay. So there is no doubt about that. If causes, comma, causes means cause of bondage. Quasi karma and karma are considered inseparable from the soul. The same flow, sorry, we have done this, next paragraph. Okay. Following this, the Acharya presents the Sankhya doctrine, which considers primal nature and soul as unchanging, and then demonstrates the contradictions within this view. After this, he proves that matter substance is by nature transformative. So nothing is unchanging, everything is changing.
Jay,
From the
can you
modification,
excuse me, Jay, can you explain this one again?
yeah. So this is the general nature of each and every substance, that it includes substance, attributes, and modification. Okay. Out of which substance and attributes are unchangeable, and modification keeps on changing every moment. Okay. But what does Sankhya, what Sankhya Mat says, it says that the karma prakriti and the soul are unchanging. But that is not the case. Every substance is changing every moment, at the same time it remains constant. So what is constant and what is changing? The substance part is constant and the modification part keeps on changing. Okay. After this, he proves that the matter substance is by nature transformative. Okay. So matter cannot be unchanging, aparinami, because matter by nature is transformative. It keeps on changing. You know, Pudgal, sudden galan, wear and tear every moment. Supposing you bought a new mobile today, Darshit bhai, okay? 6 months down the line, it may seem new to you, but if you show it to your friend, they will say, no, this is old one. Because you are using it every day, so you cannot notice the wear and tear that is happening, right? But the other one who is seeing it first time, you can easily make out that this is not the new one. So it is like that. Every material substance transforms every moment. That is his nature. Okay, transformative nature. Now the next paragraph, 116 to 120. It is assumed, if it is assumed that matter substance does not bind itself to the jiva and does not transform into karmic disposition. So what is thing? They are taking the example of matter substance. If it is assumed that matter substance does not bind itself to the jiva and does not transform into karmic disposition by itself, then matter would be considered non-transformable, aparinami, okay, unchanging, okay, which is not the case, right? Additionally, if aggregate of similar karmic matter, carbon vargana, do not transform into karmic disposition, then the very existence of the worldly cycle would be negated. Additionally, if aggregate of similar karmic matter do not transform into karmic disposition, okay, aggregate means sum total of karmic matter do not transform into karmic disposition, then the very existence of the worldly cycle would be negated, okay. In this manner, so how it happens, so with the rise of dravya karma, there is a psychic karma happening, and with the rise of psychic karma, new karmas are bound. Okay, this cycle goes on from dravya karma to bhav karma to dravya karma. So how this cycle could be stopped? That we discussed last Sunday, not last Sunday, last Saturday evening. Okay, this cycle how would can stop this cycle? So the answer was the cycle could be stopped because the rise of karma, after giving fruition, the karma gets detached. These are not the same atoms, okay? And with the psychic disposition that the soul performs, another set of karma comes in and binds, okay? So both the atoms are different. They are not the same. If it would be the same, then the soul will never be able to get out of this vicious cycle, okay? One reason. The second reason is due to our own disposition, the karmas also go continuous transformation every moment. This transformation could be in the form of increase, decrease, conversion, and prematurity. Utkarshan, Apkarshan, Sankraman, Udina. Okay, this goes on all the time. So whatever karma you bind, it is not necessary that you have to bear the fruit of those, because if you improve your sentiments, then automatically these karmas also get correspondingly changed. Okay, so it is not a mathematics that you bind 100 karmas, you have to bear the fruit of 100 karmas. No, you bind 100 karmas, now your sentiments have improved, now you are become more religious. So what will happen? Your punya will increase, pap will decrease, pap will convert into punya, and supposing 100 kg pap was supposed to come after 5 years, but it comes right now and only 2 kg. Okay, so it's a very profitable business. Now reverse the case. You go and watch TV for 2 hours. Now what's happening? Because it's an inauspicious activity, right? So your punya, pap is increasing, punya decreasing, punya is getting converted to pap, and punya is coming at prematured level. 100 kg punya was supposed to come after 5 years, but right now you are doing inauspicious activity, so it gets reduced to only 2 kilo and it comes right now. Okay, so total loss.
Auspicious activity.
Yeah, so this is number 2 reason. Okay, third reason, if there is a rise of karma, it is not necessary that you have to manifest this disposition, sentiments, emotions. No, by dint of your efforts, you can very well practice discriminative knowledge in the same situation and not manifest any emotions, any toxic emotions. So this way the karmas will get dissociated. Okay, you will not get the fruits. Okay, so your effort is very important. So these 3 reasons, dravya karma to bhav karma and bhav karma to dravya karma, is not true. We can break the cycle, and these are the 3 reasons. Okay.
Sir, can you explain the second one again?
Which
Bhav
one?
karma, bhav karma to dravya
Okay.
karma.
So what happens, we have all bound in the past karmas, okay, and those karmas are coming into fruition in a continuous manner, okay, and when those karmas come into fruition, the soul undergoes toxic emotions, all kinds of alien dispositions, okay, inauspicious sentient, all these activities happen. And because of that disposition, new karmas are bound. Okay. So dravya karma to bhav karma and bhav karma to dravya karma. Okay. So this cycle goes on. So how do you come out of this vicious cycle? That was the question. Okay. So I gave 3 reasons, and that 3 reasons also I gave last Saturday in happiness course. Okay. But I will repeat again. First point, that the same atoms are not there. The karma that has come into the rice, it gives fruition and the atoms get detached. That's job is over. So the atoms get detached. Now here again you are performing psychic karmas, okay? So new karmas will come. Those new karmas atoms are different. It's not the same. Okay? So it is not dravya karma to bhav karma and bhav karma to dravya karma. It's not the same. The atoms are different. So you can break this cycle. One reason. Second reason, because of the karmic's constant changes in the karmic situation. Okay? You are not going to experience whatever you have bound. It could be more than that, it could be less than that, depending on your sentiments. Okay. The third is that when there is a rise of material karma, you are not bound to manifest psychic karma. Okay. You can practice discriminative knowledge in the same situation and not manifest any attachments or aversions, no reactions, just absorbing everything that is reflecting in the knowledge screen. Okay. This could only be achieved when you practice discriminative knowledge. So by the putting efforts in the right direction, you practice discriminative knowledge. So the rise of material karma is there, but soul is not manifesting any emotions because of efforts. Okay. So what will happen? New karmic will not bind, new karma will not get bound, and the old karmas will get dissociated. That is called nirjara. Okay. So in this way, we are quite capable of breaking this cycle of birth and death, these transmigrations. Okay. Because we can, by our effort, stop that cycle. Clear, Rajeshri ji?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. If it is assumed, no, this one's done. If it is assumed in the middle that the jiva itself transforms matter substance into karmic disposition, okay, a question arises: how can a conscious soul cause transformation in insentient varganas and that do not transform by themselves? So soul has no job to do anything in the matter substance. Both are independent substance. Both have a absolute non-existence. Okay. So it's not possible that soul can do anything in the matter substance. Or if matter substance independently transforms into karmic sentiments, okay, karmic sentiments means ragadi, passions, attachments, all, then the claim that the soul causes karmic transformations becomes false. Okay. So resolving the aforementioned contradiction, the Acharya states that since all substances have the inherent nature of transformation, they are the doers of their own respective transformation and not of other substances. Okay. So if anger is happening, then the soul is doer of the anger, not the karma, because karma is matter substance. So matter substance cannot do anything in the soul substance. Soul substance cannot do anything in the matter substance. Therefore, the doer of transformation of matter substance into karmic form is karma itself. Just as the doer of transformation of matter substance into knowledge obscuring karma, jnana varna karma, etc., are knowledge obscuring karma, etc. themselves. So who is binding the karma? The karma itself. Okay. Soul has got no connections with karma from the real point of view. Two different entities, two independent substance. But from the conventional point of view, we can always say that because of Jnana Varniya Karma, I am not able to understand, my knowledge is poor. These are all conventional statements. Okay. Real point of view, one substance cannot do anything in the other substance. In this matter, after establishing the transformable nature, parinamatva of matter substance, the Acharya proceeds to establish the transformational nature of living substance, presenting the Sankhya doctrine. Okay, as the matter is transforming on its own, similarly the living substance or the soul is transforming on its own. Okay, if it is accepted that the soul is neither inherently bound by karma, nor does it inherently transform into states such as anger, then the soul would be established as immutable. For aparinami, they have used three different words at different time. So first of all, it was what they used. First one, unchanging. First they used unchanging. Okay. Second time they used non-transformable, and third time they are using immutable. Okay, same Hindi word aparinami, ChatGPT has translated different. Okay, so aparinami, which would be the better word, I will say unchanging, immutable, and non-transformable. So I think unchanging is the best option. So you can cancel others and put it standard unchanging everywhere where is aparinami. Okay, aparinami. So first one is in the middle paragraph. Following this, the Acharya presents the Sankhya doctrine. There unchanging is there, so you need not change anything. Then in the living one paragraph, no, then in the next paragraph itself, 1 minute. Second line, non-transformable. So there you write unchanging. And the third one in the next paragraph. Okay.
The last line.
Last
sir.
line, immutable. Immutable would be unchanging again. Okay. Furthermore, if the next
Even
page,
eternal is a good word, so.
for what? Aparinami?
Huh?
No, aparinami, eternal would not be a good word. Aparinami means it is not transforming.
Okay.
Okay. It is not transforming. That's all. Eternal is anadi anant. Okay. Further, soul does not transform into anger and similar states by itself, because that is not the nature of the soul. Anger only arises when you take shelter in external substance, when there is a rise of karma. Okay. And anger, so it does not transform into anger and similar states by itself. Then the existence of the worldly cycle would be negated. In this way, the context of the Sankhya doctrine arises. If it is assumed that matter karma in the form of anger causes the soul to transform into the state of anger, then the question arises, how can that soul, which does not inherently transform, be made to undergo such a transformation? Or if the soul itself transforms into a state of anger, then the statement that the anger causes the soul to transform into anger becomes false. Therefore, it is established that the soul engaged in passions like anger is indeed imbued with those passions. Okay. Now, the next paragraph. Thus, it is evident that the soul is the doer of the karmic disposition, bhavrup karma, bhavrup karma. So that means psychic karma. Bhavrup karma means psychic karma. So we can write doer of the psychic karmic disposition. Psychic, you word add psychic, okay? Psychic karmic disposition in which it engages. Okay. So whatever is happening in this particular substance, the soul is responsible, whether it is anger, whatever. Okay. This is called Gyan Pradhan Shaili. This was explained on Sunday. Okay. One is Dashti Pradhan, one is Gyan Pradhan. Gyan Pradhan means knowledge inclined, and Drashti Pradhan means belief inclined. Okay. So when we talk from the perspective of knowledge inclined, Gyan Pradhan, whatever is happening in this substance, the substance itself is the doer. Okay. So when you want to differentiate between two substances, we use Gyan Pradhan Shaili. And when you want to discriminate between the inherent nature and the alien disposition, स्वभाव और विभाव के बीच जब भेद विज्ञान करना होता है, then we apply the belief inclination, drashti pradhan. Okay, belief inclined. So under the belief inclined, soul is not the doer of attachment, and under the knowledge inclined, soul is the doer of attachment. Okay, this was very discussed in Sunday's class, last Sunday's class, Samay Sar Kalash, and I also shared in the group the difference whether the soul is the doer of attachments or soul is not the doer of attachment. So for soul is not the doer of attachment, 6 arguments were given, and soul is the doer of attachment, 4 arguments were given. That you can refer from there. I am not going to discuss right now. Thus, it is evident that the soul is the doer of the psychic karmic disposition in which it engages. The disposition of the enlightened are knowledge-based, Gyanmayi. From the knowledge-based disposition, only knowledge-based disposition arises. Hence, all the dispositions of the enlightened are purely of the nature of knowledge, and they are not the doers of karma. However, the disposition of the ignorant are ignorance-based, Agyanamayi. From the ignorance-based disposition, only ignorance-based disposition arises. Therefore, the disposition of the ignorant remain rooted in ignorance. Due to the fruition of ignorance, wrong belief, non-restraint, passions, and activities of mind, speech, and body, the ignorant being binds material karma. Because he becomes a doer of these things, so he binds karma. If he doesn't become a doer, then he doesn't bind karma. Now, 132 to 136, next paragraph. Not having knowledge of the true nature of substance. Okay, true nature of substance, vastu swarup. Okay, nature of things, nature of reality. Not having knowledge of the true nature of substance results in ignorance. Okay, so in my first class on delusion, the last slide and the conclusion, the third point is this one: true nature of substance, vastu swarup. You have to every time match with vastu swarup. Whether it is matching vastu swarup, no, then you leave it. Okay, not having the knowledge of the true nature of substance results in ignorance. The lack of right belief in the fundamental elements results in wrong belief. The absence of renunciation results in non-restraint. Impure engagement of the soul's active consciousness gives rise to passion. The enthusiasm for auspicious or inauspicious activities or their withdrawal expressed through bodily, verbal, and mental actions results in activity. When those fruition, Uday, serve as the cause, the aggregate of similar karmic matter transforms into 8 types in the form of knowledge, obscuring, and other karmas. When this karmic matter aggregates truly bind to the soul itself becomes the cause of its ignorance-laden modification. Okay. When those fruition, Uday, serves as the cause, the aggregator of similar karmic transform into 8 types in the form of knowledge, obscuring karmas, and other karmas. Okay. So there is a rise of Uday, okay, fruition of earlier karmic, okay, and here new 8 types of karmas are being bound. When this karmic matter aggregates truly bind to the soul itself becomes the cause of its ignorant state. Okay, because of the rise of those karma, the soul itself becomes the cause of its ignorance-laden modification. Okay, so here you have to practice discriminative knowledge to not become a doer of this ignorance. Okay. Now, the next paragraph is 137 to 140, and then the next paragraph we are going to end this Karta Karma Adhikar. Okay. The aforementioned transformation of matter is distinct from that of the soul. Two independent activities. Here you have to practice discriminative knowledge. Okay. The aforementioned transformation of matter is distinct from that of the soul, because if the transformation of matter substance into karma were considered to be along with the soul, then both the matter and soul would actually be transformed into karma. But that doesn't happen. Matter substance transforms into karma, okay, but not the soul. Soul is always different from those things. Okay, soul is an active consciousness body, and these are non-active consciousness, non-conscious entities. Okay, they don't have knowledge in them. Soul has got knowledge in him. Okay, then both and matter would actually be transformed into karma. However, the transformation in the form of karma is solely a property of matter substance. Transformation in the form of karma is solely a property of matter substance. Thus, resulting karma is independent of the soul as instrumental cause. So there do exist an instrumental cause and effect relationship between the soul and the karma, but there is no doer and deeds relationship between the karma and the soul. Okay. Similarly, the transformation of the soul is independent of the instrumental causes in the form of fruition of karma. Okay. So transformation of soul is independent. So soul is independently transforming of the instrumental cause in the form of the fruition of karma, karmodaya. If one assumes that the soul undergoes transformation alongside karma in the form of passions, then both the soul and karma would acquire the state of passion. Okay. But karma does not acquire the state of passions, because passion is an component of soul's modification. Okay. So the exact word would be ragadi. Ragadi means attachments, etc. You cancel passion and write attachments. Two places it is there. One here. However, the transformation into passion, that would be, however, the transformation into attachments, etc., occurs only in the soul. Therefore, the transformation of the soul is independent of the fruition of karma as the instrumental cause. Now the last 4 words, 141 to 144. In conclusion, the Acharya summarizes the discourse. This is the summary of the Karta Karma Adhikar. Okay. In conclusion, the Acharya summarizes the discourse by stating that the assertion the soul is bound and not touched by karmic particles. In conclusion, the Acharya summarizes that this
Sorry, sir. It says the soul is bound and touched. So do we add, is there a not missing here?
is bound and touched by karmic
Yeah.
particles.
So is that right?
No, it's a conventional statement.
No, so what I'm saying is the sentence written correctly. The soul is bound and touched by karmic particles.
Yes,
Yes.
because
Good.
it's a conventional, no, correct.
Correct.
Perspective of conventional viewpoint.
Okay.
So soul is bound and touched by karmic particles is a conventional statement. From the real point of view, the soul is independent of all the matter substances. Soul has no connection with matter substance. Soul has no connection with body. Soul has no connection with speech. Soul has no connection with mind. Everything is independent. Only the relationship is that there exists a instrumental cause and effect relationship between the two. That's all. But that doesn't mean that soul is the doer of karma and karma is the doer of any soul's activity. Both are independent. Okay. So is a statement from the perspective of conventional viewpoint, whereas the statement the soul is unbound and untouched is a statement from the perspective of absolute viewpoint. So cut down absolute, you write down real viewpoint. Everywhere we write real. Okay, I have already changed, you also change. However, both of these are merely viewpoint. So one viewpoint says that soul is bound and touched by karmic particles. Another view says that soul is not bound by, not soul is unbound and untouched. Okay. So these are two statements. One is from the conventional point of view, one is from the real point of view. However, both of these are merely viewpoints. Naipaksha. Okay. When you want to realize yourself, we have to negate these two also. Okay. So the real point of view negates the conventional point of view, and then later on real point of view also gets negated and the experience emerges. Okay. So when the realization happens, there is no viewpoint. There is no valid knowledge. Praman, nai, nikshep, nothing is there. Only the experience, eternal bliss. Okay. However, both of these are merely viewpoints. Okay. These are being said from a certain perspective. One is said from the conventional viewpoint, another is real viewpoint. So both of these are merely viewpoints. The pure soul, which is the essence of Samaisar, is beyond all viewpoints. So we will navigate the journey from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8. 8 is the king of all viewpoint. Supreme real point of view. Okay. So we have come from first stage from Nai number 1 to Nai number 8. Now what will happen, you know? Now the next step would be realization. So when the realization happens, we have to leave number 8 also, because it is also one of the viewpoints. And so far viewpoints are remaining, you cannot become thoughtless. Nirvikalp nahi ho sakte. Okay. So to become nirvikalp, you have to go beyond all viewpoints. Okay. So this is how it is said. However, both of these are merely viewpoints. Naipaksha. The pure soul, which is the essence of Samaisar, is beyond all viewpoints. The soul that does not adopt any viewpoint in the least, but merely knows them while remaining absorbed in the self, attains absolute bliss. The soul that does not adopt any viewpoint. Okay. So this is the stage of self-realization. This is the stage of Atmanubhuti. Okay. So when this stage comes, the Soul does not adopt any viewpoint. Nothing is coming in its mind. Only the experience, the eternal bliss, eternal bliss, eternal bliss. The soul that does not adopt any viewpoint in the least, but merely knows them while remaining absorbed in the self, attains absolute bliss. It does not adopt any viewpoint, merely knows them while remaining absorbed in the self. This is very important. Remaining absorbed in the self. Your active consciousness you have directed towards your self soul, and it has become one with the soul. So the realization has happened, the realization is going on, and at that point of time, soul merely knows while remaining absorbed in the self, attains absolute bliss. Such a being is truly one with right belief and one with right knowledge. Okay. So this is how the self-realization happens. This is the one place where Acharyas have explained the process of self-realization, and the other one is in Moksha Marg Prakashak. The last of Moksha Marg Prakashak, there is a letter which Todarmalji has written to some of his co-religionists. That letter itself, the process of self-realization is mentioned. Only these two places in the whole of Jinagam, whatever I have read. If any one of you know anything else, do inform me. I will be more glad to research on that. Okay. So, Karta Karma Adhikar, the basic thing was that one substance is independent of another substance. Whatever activities happen in this substance, that substance is itself the doer and not any other substance. This is one part. Now, when you have already identified the difference between the two substances, independent substances, then the next step would be to practice discriminative knowledge between the self, between the inherent nature of the soul and the alien disposition. स्वभाव और विभाव के बीच भेद विज्ञान करना हो, then it will be only within one substance, not two substance. Okay, and then you move towards realization. So this is how we have to progress from two substance to one substance, again one substance to two substance. So this way, with constant practice, our knowledge gets trained. Okay, and the more the knowledge gets trained, it will be in a better position to practice discriminative knowledge. And when you practice discriminative knowledge, that is the time you realize yourself. Okay, so very what we have not done since time immemorial, this is the time that we have to do that. Okay, and we all should be very excited to do that job. Okay, because that is going to change our life. Okay, from an ignorant being to an enlightened soul, the journey to the path of liberation has already begun. Okay, and of course, within a few births, you will get liberated. Okay, so this was very important, Karta Karma Adhikar. If you summarize the whole Karta Karma Adhikar, I will tell you 4 statements. First statement, whether it is enlightened soul or is an ignorant soul, nobody does anything in the other substance. पर द्रव्य का कर्ता तो कोई भी नहीं है. Nobody is doer of the non-self substance. Okay, पर द्रव्य का कर्ता कोई नहीं है. ज्ञानी अज्ञानी कोई नहीं है. Then the second statement, ignorant being is considered to be the doer of attachments, etc. Okay. Then the third statement, enlightened soul does not become a doer of attachments, etc. Then the fourth statement, then what do the soul do? Because this is Karta Karma Adhikar. We have to establish doership at some point. So what is the soul doer? Then the answer comes that the soul is the doer of its own knowledge. अपने ज्ञान का करता है. Just because it is a karta karma adhikar, so you have to establish the karta. So that's why it says that it's the doer of its own knowledge sentiments, knowledge disposition. Okay, अपने ज्ञान का करता है, लेकिन पर द्रव्य का करता तो कोई भी नहीं है, ज्ञानी अज्ञानी कोई भी नहीं है. Okay, so these were the four broad statements from karta karma adhikar. I'll repeat. Okay, anyone can repeat? If you have listened very carefully, you can try. I will help out. Sasikala, are you trying? First statement: ignorant being and enlightened being. Okay, you consider both. Both are the non-doer of anything in the other substance. That means attachment. ज्ञानी अज्ञानी, not attachment. कोई भी परद्रव्य का करता नहीं है. Nobody is the doer of the non-self substance, other substance. Okay, this is the first principle. The second principle: the ignorant being becomes the doer of the attachments, etc. The enlightened one does not become the doer of attachments, etc. Then what does the enlightened one do? The enlightenment is the doer of its own knowledge. ज्ञान का करता है, बाकी किसी का करता नहीं है. So this is the summary, the four main statements in the conclusion. And if you have any doubts for today's class, we are having 3 minutes left, so we can discuss. Yeah. Those who are not joining classes of late, I think you should cover up in the recording. Otherwise, you all will be lost. No, this is not easy. Just because this is Samay sir, and on top of that, we are reading in English. Okay, you could see how many mistakes the chat GPT is doing. And still, I feel that there must be some mistakes which we are not able to catch, because unless and until you pay very great attention, all seems to be okay. Okay, so we have to be very, very alert in locating the mistakes that ChatGPT does. Okay, but I feel more or less we have covered all the mistakes, but still we keep scope for any error that we have done, and whoever is able to point out any errors, they are all welcome. They are doing a great, we can say, we are grateful to those who points out the mistakes. Okay, so we accept our mistakes. So this is how it will be. Okay, any other questions? 14th is the last day of your assignment. Okay, already 2-3 people have done. So Agam ke nahi, 10 questions I have given. I will ask 2 questions out of that and 1 from common. Okay, same chapter. So this is your Viva. Okay, so hope everyone has started preparing. The moment you are ready, you just give me a message. We will do it on call. Yeah, any questions for today, or we are good for the day? Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माखो वंदना सतवार है. उसके लिए जिन वाणी माखो वंदना सतबार है. 9 times नमोकार मंत्र. बोलो द्वाद संग में जिनवाणी माता की जय।
धन्यवाद जी।
जय जिनेन्द्र सर।
जय जिनेन्द्र।
जय जिनेन्द्र।
जय
Jai
जिनेन्द्र।
Jin.